Welcome back to the Angus Report. I'm Crystal Albers. I'm here with Dr. Larry Corah of Certified Angus Beef and Dr. John Paterson of NCBA. And one thing that we want to touch on is what happens to beef quality with some of these feed alternatives that are going on right now.
I think a real key to keep in mind, we talked about fetal programming of the cow. One of the interesting research findings in the last 2-3 years is that marbling starts developing early in that developing fetus, maybe as early as the even first trimester, but certainly the second trimester of pregnancy in these cows. And if we end up with thin cows or cows that are undernourished from both a protein and energy standpoint, there are lingering effects as those calves go into the feedlot and ends up a reduction in quality grade. The other part that compounds this a lot is a lot of these calves that came off these drouthy pastures this summer, we have a lot of health-related problems in these calves as they come off and go into a growing program or some type of development program. If you have health problems on these calves, no matter when it occurs, even as baby calves, but certainly at weaning time, any health-related problems is going to reduce feedlot performance. It's going to increase subsequent death loss during both the weaning period, but through the feedlot phase, and then quality grade is compromised.
And you know, we've talked a lot about the cow herd. Talk about replacement heifers and when we need to really start putting weight on them.
Well, I think the part we have talked mainly about cows, and we need to not overlook it. We hope that we're going to start keeping replacement heifers back and start building back this cow population. So the replacement heifer is a key part of this process, but also how we develop these replacement heifers. We got more flexibility. Some folks even utilize some corn stock raising with replacement heifers where we didn't used to put young cattle on some of the residue fields. Now we're actually able to do that along with some protein supplementation and make that work.
You've got a lot of flexibility because we've got a long ways to go between October and say April or May. So we do have flexibility on how we're going to develop those heifers.
So despite some of the drought conditions, the good news is it'll rain eventually, right?
Well, I don't think there's any question that at some point it'll rain. I mean, when it doesn't rain, you say, oh, it'll never rain. When it starts raining, you say it'll never quit. It's just kind of the nature of how we deal with the environment, the weather conditions. But I think a really important point to look down the road is beef demand has continued to be very good. I think particularly with all things going on in our economy, and it resonates back, John, to the beef industry. I think as we look at maybe calf prices coming down the road, the price of these females, I think there's some pretty good economic times and some pretty good positives for this beef industry look in the next 2 to 5 years.
Oh, I'm excited about where we're going because of the value of the calves that we're selling there. But Larry's right. If you look at eating satisfaction, it's as high as it's ever been. The number of choice cattle that we're producing in this industry is high. People want that product. Demand is good for that product. I think there's going to be opportunities in these replacement heifers and even in some of these aged cows to go back onto these ranches. I'm pretty excited about the business. I know I talk negatively about things we've got to do, but boy, as I look down there, I'm excited to be a part of this industry.
We're poised for a lot of growth right now.
You bet.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. We've learned quite a bit, given us a lot to consider, and we'll also continue this discussion on feed alternatives and drought management considerations in future episodes of the Angus Report. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.